The other night, I went home and turned on the TV set in my bedroom, and as I was changing, getting into my jammies, as it were, I noticed that there was there were three commercials back to back. The first one was for Wachovia Bank, and it was nothing but finger-picked acoustic, solo acoustic guitar.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody with a $100 microphone and some sort of digital recorder or a DAT machine could have easily recorded that. You don't have to be a great engineer, just reasonably good. Next one was for Tractor Supply Company. I'm not sure if that's a national chain. I think it is. It's kind of like Home Depot. That too was just solo acoustic guitar doing finger picking, and nothing about it was amazing. It wasn't like, wow, that's the best finger picking I've ever heard. It was just good. It was right for the mood. And the third piece was for Chevy Tahoe, big national spot. That was an acoustic guitar, an upright bass, a second acoustic guitar, one just doing like brang, brang, while another one was doing finger picking, an upright bass, and then a person yodeling in the background. And I thought almost any musician could do this stuff. Not to say that the people who did it weren't talented, but their talent was in recognizing what would work well for commercials. And the common factor was they were all very simple. And I think that people tend to forget that there are going to be actors talking over this stuff. There are going to be voiceovers. Tell me what you've learned over this decade of doing this now about constructing music to fit in. Is there any trick to it?
This is interesting. I mean, I've actually found that it's really not that different. I think a lot of times when you hear a really sparse piece of music on television, that may be a mix out. It might not be the actual full version of the piece that was created, because
tell our viewers what a mix out is.
A mix out just means it's basically an alternate mix. Usually doesn't have the lead element, the lead instrument or vocal, in case if it's a song in it. It will just be sort of a bed. And what I found, this is just my personal experience, is that even for applications where your song is eventually going to end up in the background, you need to have something that makes this person who picks your song, the music supervisor, the ad agency, whoever it is, want to pick your song. So I found compelling melodies are just as desirable as they would be in pop music. Because remember, these people are not, most of these people are not musicians. The music supervisors mostly are not musicians. The ad agency people are not musicians. They are regular people, and they need to have something in the music to hang their hat on, something that they go like, wow, this is cool. And so having great melodies is still excellent. You should always make a mix without it, of course, but I think one of the big mistakes people make is they watch television, they watch CSI, they watch any television show, and they listen to the music in that, and they go like, well, if I write music just like that, my music is also going to be on CSI or Law and Order or whatever. And that's just not really the way it is, because remember, that composer who writes that music is the underscore composer who writes to picture. So his music only has to work in the context of the picture, dialogue, everything that's going on. It does not have to stand on its own 2 feet. However, the music that you want to pitch to the music library, so that it will pick it and put it in their catalog, and that eventually the music supervisor wants to pick and put in his picture or in his television show, that piece of music needs to stand on its own, otherwise it will not make it to that point. So there's a difference between underscore music that we hear on TV and the kind of music we need to write to get it to eventually, come into that position.
I remember my experience as an audio post-production engineer working at Howard Schwartz Recording in New York, which is kind of the preeminent audio post facility maybe in the world now. I noticed that I called these guys vidiots, video editors, people from ad agencies, people that they work with picture. They are generally not music people. You're so right. So basically you have to write, even if it's just if there's no melody, just the chord changes have to be interesting enough that they're captivating. That
Exactly.
It's almost a hit record sound without the hit record.
They're just, yeah, there has to be something, a hook or something about it that draws the person in and makes them go, oh, that's cool, I want to use this, and not, you know, the other 20 piano tracks that they might have lined up. So you want to do something interesting, you want to do something compelling, you really want to apply yourself and come up with something great and original, and not think that, oh, it's just going to be somewhere in the background, it can just be some throwaway thing, you know. That's not the way to approach it. And you know, there's also, you know, one of the things when you brought up these simple television commercials, one of the things you have to keep in mind is, again, when we're talking about getting yourself in the door with a music library, that's a big step. They need to pick you over somebody else or a lot of other people, and once you have that in, once you have the company, maybe they'll come to you and they say, we want you to do a CD with just simple piano pieces, just very sparse and simple things, and you might be able to do that CD, you know, in a couple weeks. But if you had given them those simple piano pieces, if you had pitched those pieces to them, they might have not thought you were all that great.
So that was really the point you were trying to make when you called me about that video I had on YouTube. You felt that it was misleading, and I see your point really well, which was, I was trying to make the point that it's really easy from a production level to bang these things out. You don't need a lot of tracks, you don't need a lot of gear, and you don't need a lot of time. Your point was it made people think you didn't need to be really good with melodically or musically.
Exactly, and that it's always harder to get in the door from out of nowhere than it is to stay inside when you're already inside.
From my observation watching you is that people like working with you because they know that you're going to be on time, you're reliable, you're professional, you're not a hassle to work with, you're not a prima donna, you're their solid go-to guy. Tell me if for other people who are watching that feel that they might be a solid go-to guy, how can they take that first contact and leverage that over time? Maybe you have an example of something that's happened for you along those lines.
Well, the best thing you can do is the first piece or project or whatever it is that they give you, you just do the most amazing job that you can possibly do. You if you send them something and they want to change, you make that change without even, you know, that's an important thing. A lot of people go like, you can't mess with my music, you know, this is my music, this is perfect. And so you don't want to do that. You want to go in there and you want to say, okay, you want that changed, you want that ending different, you would like the intro to be shorter, no problem, you do all that. You want to be easy to work with. You want to give them a great quality product. You want to deliver it on time, which is like super important because most musicians just cannot deliver stuff on time. I mean, they just always get behind. And you know, these are companies, they have business plans, they have probably figured out when they want to release the CD, so it's important. You can't just, you know, fall behind. You have to be on time. So these are the most important things. Give them great quality product, be easy to work with, and you know, always be on time with everything. And I think when you have those qualities, and then they're going to go, well, this person is really, you know, reliable. I can work with this person. They do a good job. They give us great music. You know, they're easy to work with. Why would I go anywhere else? And I think they automatically want to come back to you if you give them everything that you want. You don't even really have to be pushy, because I was certainly not a pushy person. I mean, I was, in the beginning, I was extremely timid. I really, you know, I would freeze up when some music supervisor or some publisher or somebody would call me. I would like start stammering. I mean, I was really extremely timid, and I was not a good schmoozer, and I was not a good business person. And you know, if I can get to this point, I really feel that anybody else can get to this point who thinks they're not a business person. You do not have to be a business person, but you do have to understand that it is a business and that you have to learn about the business sooner or later if you want to make a living at it.